So you mentioned the NDA that the company was trying to have you sign, that e-commerce platform. I'm really lucky that I didn't do that. I'm surprised that my boss didn't try to do that. I wouldn't have signed it anyways. But I
Mhm.
remember him trying to give me some form of contracts like pretty early on when I was building out the platform. You know, gosh, I don't want to mention the names, but there was Fortune 500 companies looking at our software, like not to buy it, but they were using it, right? Like we had pretty big clients, like companies that if I mentioned, people outside of the US would recognize, like really big companies. And I remember like him realizing, okay, Dennis got a product here. Now we got to start, tying him in. He started trying to offer me to pay me for it. I was like, no. We agreed early. I'm willing to invest my time and energy into this, some of my own money. This is my product. So he would try to buy me out in little ways here and there, but try to not scare me off, I guess.
How did that's the thing that I don't get, because also too, like, so were you working for this company, or you came in like, hey, I'll work on this project for you,
So
but it's mine. How
So
did
I
that?
was working. Yeah, that's a question a lot of people ask. So here's how it went. I got hired at that company as a marketer, right?
Yeah.
So I was in charge of like hiring employees. Like I was in management, but I was a marketer. So when I saw this, I said, "Hey, I want to build that. I'm going to keep it separate." And I made it very clear. I will build this after hours on my own time. I will learn. This is something that I'm into. And early on, because I'll say it now, he was a cheap ass. He said,
Mhm.
his eyes were huge at this point. He's like, "Hell yeah, let's do this. Like, build me this free product." And I told him early, I said, if it does something, then you're going to pay me for it long term. We'll figure out a system. And we eventually figured out like a service fee where he paid me per sample that was sent into the lab. We did fuel testing. So somebody was sending like a jar of diesel, they'd FedEx it to us or UPS it, and we would test it and put it into the system. So that's how I was charging him. So I made it very clear that this is separate. We agreed to it. That's how it was. And I actually got him to sign papers too. I said, this is very clear. And he, thought, okay, this young guy is not, he's got nothing on me, probably didn't even look over the contract, signed it, and went on with it. And I wasn't trying to loop him into anything, but I just said, if you come after me, because I already didn't trust him, I'm watching my back. So I never spent time there, and it was completely a side project, and we agreed to that. We had it in paper. So that's how I kept that difference. Now, when he did try to get me to sign that NDA eventually, but when it started getting big, this is where he tried to grasp the whole thing. He noticed, because he started having to pay me a lot of money now, because now he's paying the service fee. So he tries to push me out in a way out of the company. He has his lawyer, this business partner that comes in, like this dude that I know from other areas. Like I know him around town, but he's one of these dudes that just talks big money. We're gonna make millions with this kid. We're just talking like this. But then I start getting this sense like they're having a lot of meetings without me now. I'm the guy that leads this. Like when we go to Dallas or like these like cities that do a lot of business, like we'd be up in boardrooms on the 30th floor in front of like city officials here. Like we're talking the head of EPA, a lot of these like government officials that are making decisions for our country. And I'm out here presenting. I'm like, what are you going to do without me? How are you going to pitch this thing? You guys don't know anything about the product. So he ends up like, I sensed it. We started fighting back and forth. And I basically told him, hey, you got to buy me out or I'm leaving. Like I just got so fed up with it. Killing myself here, hurting my marriage. I mean, I'm not spending time with my wife or anything. I'm out flying to a new city every single week, sometimes twice a week, just going back and forth all over the country. And I basically gave him that option, and he starts coming after me with lawyers right away. I'm getting emails, phone calls. Lawyer starts telling me to send him all these files in this format. And I have a background in this. You got to remember that I have a business background, so I've dealt with the IRS tax-wise. I've dealt with legal stuff. I've had to hire kids that are 17 where I had to understand all the laws, like what's their age, what can I legally, how much work can they put in. So I know what to do here. Like I have a pretty good legal background. So I respond to the lawyer and I tell her, I said, I don't have to give you shit. I'm just going to do a data dump on you. You can have that. I don't need to organize it for you. There's nothing that legally obligates me to give you like the emails and passwords in a certain format. But you have till the end of the week. Here's my price. If you don't pay it, the system goes night-night. We turn it off. The company's going to lose a shit ton of money. You try to sue me for defamation, that's fine. But you're not going to have money to sue me anymore. So I had this position where I was like, cards are on the table. You think I'm a young kid that's stupid and doesn't know anything? I know enough to say that this lawsuit's going to take at least 3 to 6 months to settle, and that company will not survive because we had all these big clients using this system, so they were tied into it. They already downgraded their old system; it was gone, and in theory, if they had time, maybe they could have fought me, because what companies do here is they try to drown you out. Like, even if they're not going to win the lawsuit, they're going to slam you with lawyer fees to where by the time you fight it and win, you're done. Like, I didn't have $80,000 to put into legal fees. I couldn't fight this. So I basically said, we can fight in court later, but tonight or by the end of the week, if I don't get a contract signed saying you will not sue and we won't go further and you're going to pay up, you have 2 months to pay this out, we're done. And that was it. And then he ended up firing that lawyer, or I don't remember if she quit on him or I don't know what that was, if she fired him. One of those. The lawyer was gone. And yeah, that's kind of how I was able to still keep it though and work for the company. I kept it separate, didn't sign any non-disclosures. Like, I went through that. I try to go, like, I went through went through all my documents, try to remember, did I sign anything like that? And I feel like it'd be pretty easy to remember. And I even threatened them at one point. I said, I'll take this to another company right now. Like, I'll easily just shift this over. And they're like, no, please don't do that. And the lawyer tried to put that into the non-compete clause. And I said, no, you get to buy it. But I'm still like, if I want to work for another fuel laboratory one day, I'm doing it, even though I have no desire to. But I wanted to just show them that I was willing to go all in with this. Yeah. So
that's crazy.
I did one video on that. Like, there's still backstories. Like, I always remember like different parts of like this whole thing, because this was like a 2-week battle. Like, it was a standoff because they were still using my software. So that pissed me off because he stopped sending the money, but yet he's still using my software. I'm like, okay, you don't have much time then, because I'm not going to do this. Like, I worked too hard for this to just let you use it, make money on my system and not pay me for it.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel you on that. But that's crazy. No, but look, that was smart. That was smart because, it would have been different if you would have said, hey, I'm going to be working on this on office hours. That's different, right? That's
completely. Then they own it.
Yeah, because that's on their time. They're paying you for it. But what you did was like, hey, man, if you guys want me to build this and, I'm going to go in, I'm going to build this whole tool, and create the software outside of work and on my own time. And, but I own this. Like, you was very clear about that from the beginning. So they had to take it. At the end of the day, they're like, man, we could have just had him working our hours and this and that. But it's like, nah, you were smart because also too, you didn't get hired there as initially as a developer, no? So
no, yeah, I still was technically under contract work though too, because half my paycheck from that company, like I made decent money there. Half the paycheck was from employment, and then the other half was because of contract work that I was doing. So I even kept my contract work separate. Okay. So yeah, I kept it pretty.
That's smart.
Yeah, pretty separate. Yeah. So